We are taking a bit of a break. We are moving away from all the projects we've got going on all around the place, instead to focus on something that's kind of been a bit more pressing this entire time, which is this Pajero Sport. This is the main, I don't know if you can call it a workhorse, but it's the main thing that I use. It's my workhorse, I suppose I could say that. I use this quite a bit. This is sort of the mixture of the daily driver. It does quite a bit of towing, and it just helps save everything that's broken that's around here, constantly going out and getting bits. But this needs a bit of saving itself. There's actually quite a few maintenance things we need to get to, and on top of that, we need to do one big major fix. A lot of it's under here though. So underneath this burgundy bonnet is our 4-cylinder diesel, as you would expect. On top of that, there's, amongst other things, our radiator, which we have mildly damaged. I mean, it still works. I've driven another 7,000 Ks since we fell off a sand dune and put a big old dent in the bottom of it. But it's a bit concerning that dent's even there. Now, as I said, look, I've driven around, I've done 7,000 Ks, I've towed with it. It hasn't it hasn't gotten hot. The temperature gauge, unless it's broken, says it's fine. But look, it's a plastic tanked radiator. It has been dented quite bad. We should just go around and replace it and upgrade it. And not to mention, this car is now at 170,000 Ks, so it's probably not a bad idea just to do a fluid flush on it, replace the water pump, replace the thermostat, and just give it a bit of a birthday. So we'll do an oil change on it. The brakes all the way around, they all need to be replaced, so we'll upgrade those, because now with the bigger tyres on this, it doesn't stop as well, and plus I'm towing that much that it would be nice to have bigger and better brakes. And then other than that, what we're also going to do, given how high it is in kilometres, is we're going to pull the injectors and get the injectors serviced. Now, it's not really needed. It does feel a little bit underpowered, but I don't know if that's just my perspective on it. I haven't driven one of these things new. I drove this when I got it, I think I had 120,000 Ks or something like that on it. And that's my experience with these Pajero Sports and this motor. I haven't driven a Triton or anything like that either. So we'll have a look at that as well. And then we'll also, since we're already in there, we'll do an intake clean as well. Pull that all apart, because I'm sure with just a little pottering around the farm and then towing as well, I've built up quite a little bit of carbon in the intake, so we'll get that sorted as well. The first thing I really want to do though is pull the radiator out, get some more access to everything. Then I'll probably pull the intake out, because we want to get the injectors out and get them serviced straight away, because that's going to be the thing that's going to hold us up the most, I do think. Other than that, I think that I've got all the parts for everything else that I need, which is all behind you on this bench. And I think this is everything we should need. So we've got fluids, we've got a gasket kit. Now this has extra gaskets in it for like head gasket and stuff. We're not replacing the head gasket, or at least I hope that I don't find I need to replace this head gasket, much like the Landau. Let's hope not, fingers crossed. These are all brake kits here, and then underneath we've got some fresh bash plates because we absolutely rooted the other ones, so we'll get those replaced as well. And I think that's everything, so we can crack on by start pulling all of this apart, which should be hopefully easier than some of the other experiences we've had, given that these are newer parts that we're fiddling with. So there shouldn't be any rust, there shouldn't be any corrosion, it should all just go swimmingly, and there shouldn't be any dramas. Famous last words, we'll see what happens. Kind of thingy, whatever it is. I'll need, probably can't see me there, it'll be just a silhouette, but I need some pliers. This is yet another case of me not knowing what I am doing. My experience with modern vehicles, let alone diesels, is practically non-existent. I just realised when looking at the new radiator, there's a drain bung. Rather than spilling it everywhere, I could have spilled it, probably still everywhere, but a little bit less everywhere. Yeah, modern technology. Drain bugs, who would have thought? Though that being said, this Pajero Sport doesn't look too difficult to work on. Not only is there no rusty bolts to worry about, which is just amazing, but access appears to be pretty decent, and parts have so far been cheap, which I think accurately sums up this whole car pretty well. Bang for buck, on the cheaper end of the spectrum, I don't think I could recommend any other four-wheel drive. It doesn't even look like I'm fouling it. It's just... It just looks clear. There's legit nothing. Oh, there's a turbo pipe there actually. This has all the creature comforts with CarPlay, heated seats, 3-zone climate control. It has plenty of capability with 3 different four-wheel drive modes, along with an electronic terrain adjustment mode and a rear locker. Oh! Oh! Oh my lord! Why? Why is that so hard? And the cherry on top, it was cheap. A 2017 model with just over 120,000 kilometers was just over 20,000 Australian dollars. And that's not even the cheapest one. This one cost more because of the optional leather interior and its brilliant burgundy color. I won't lie, I'm not overly proficient in modern cars, let alone diesels. And I don't know much about fuel injection at all, to be honest with you. I know the general principle of it, but to be honest, I've never touched an injector before, so this is all new territory for me. It all looks pretty simple. I don't quite understand why there's 2 fuel lines going to the injector. I would have thought you just need 1, but there seems to be one main one, and then there's a smaller one on top. Maybe that is just the return, actually, come to think of it, because that looks like it's low pressure. So that would make sense. And it looks like there's no return to the fuel tank. It just returns back to the fuel rail. I reckon that's what it is. I reckon I've just figured it out, ladies and gentlemen. How smart am I? And yes, it's not the best four-wheel drive, and yes, it's not particularly fast or handles very well, and yes, it drinks fuel faster than we can refine it when you even think about putting weight on the tow ball. But in a similar vein to the Holden Colorado and the Trailblazers, it's not great at anything, but perfectly adequate at so very much. I know it's early stages, but a couple of days have actually went by already. Not because I've been sitting here working on this, but because I actually had to shoot off and do a few emergency runs in the truck. So that's been a bit of a drama and been getting in the way, which has led me a little bit terrified because, like, I'm not familiar, and as you may have very well seen on the Commodore, I'm not very familiar with anything that's more complicated than a fuel line that goes to a carburetor. So I have been a bit worried that coming back to this, I'm going to forget where things go and my photos aren't going to be proficient enough, but having some time to reflect on it and think on it, I think it's all pretty going to be like okay, and I'm in pretty safe hands. Everything's sort of got a home and got a place to be. It's all sort of cut to the right lengths and everything fits and just sort of works. Like I am quietly impressed of how well this has been engineered. I suppose, like, obviously it's all cost cutting. You want to make sure you've got the right length cables and hoses and stuff like that. But it has just meant that when I reassemble it, everything's got a hose, everything's got a home and everything's got a place to be, and only one thing can go to one connector. So it should make my life pretty easy. The only thing I can get wrong is just missing something. So I think, as I said, I'm in safe hands. Now the next step really, I want to go look at the throttle body. Now, there is still quite a lot of stuff here to remove. There's heaps of complexity that we've already gotten out of the way, but there's still quite a bit we've got to remove further in order to get to the intake manifold, which I've been planning to clean. But having a look at the condition of everything else, it may not be required. The injectors were quite dirty, so we'll see what it's like inside. The main tell is going to be when we take the throttle body off, what can we see through that port there? So I think that's what we do. I think we remove the throttle body. There is certainly some clumpiness in there. The intake manifold ultimately isn't too bad. There is certainly carbon buildup, but it doesn't look like it would restrict airflow any more than 20% and would maybe just add some turbulence. But given we are already here, I don't know what hidden ports there are in this manifold, and I do suspect we are down on power. I figured it would be worthwhile to remove the manifold to give it a clean anyway. Which turned out to be quite the mission. Nothing hard, just time consuming. When I told myself I would do this job, I suspected it would be slightly more difficult, maybe take a couple hours longer than working on an old Ford 250 Crossflow 6. But no, there was always something in the way. There was always just one more thing to remove. Always a bolt that I couldn't quite reach, always a hose blocking access, or a loom not able to be moved. All accumulated to making this job take me most of the day and get me to curse a lot.
Now, who designed this, man? Oh, God. Jesus. Oh, and there's a big manifold on the back. I got it. Do you remember the worst part about this back bolt that I've been trying to undo? Been struggling with it for some time, and all of a sudden I realised I had the ratchet spanner the wrong way around. Rookie mistake, man, rookie mistake. Oh.
Ultimately though, I am glad this job was sorted. It was not only a good peace of mind, but I did end up finding a port nearly blocked with soot.
Jesus Christ! I don't know if you can see that. Been to the wars, man. Alright. Now, ideally I think we would like to put the intake manifold on straight away whilst it's still fresh in my memory that, you know, how we took it off and everything. But I got to leave it to dry a little bit longer, and then I want to inspect it after it's dry just to make sure there is no other clumps of carbon or anything like that built up inside of it. So instead we're going to move on and maybe forget how to reinstall everything and then have drums. But anyway, we're going to move on to back towards the front of the motor. So water pump honestly looks, I don't want to say pretty straightforward. I didn't think the intake manifold was going to be that bad, but anyway. It doesn't look too bad. We'll take off the fan and then it looks like I just got to find the tensioner, remove the belt, and looks like just a couple of 10 mils and then we'll be able to do it. My port. Oh no. Can you make it out? I've got stuff stuck in my port. That sucks. This whole project has been absolutely kicking my ass. But it's not because anything's going wrong up in here or anything really to do with the car. Yes, it's a bit fiddly and there's stuff everywhere and I am probably at risk of forgetting to plug hoses and stuff in. The main issue is I've just been pulled away so many times now. This has been over like a week or something of me trying to just work on this, and it's been like a bit of a day here, a bit of a day there. But now I've finally got about a day and a half where I can just lock in and just get stuff done. And I think that's going to be more than enough time to finish off the intake manifold. That's now dry, that's now clean. We can get that installed. We can do the water pump. It does look like to properly change the full housing of the water pump, I need to remove the turbo. I don't think I'm going to do that, but look, we'll see what happens when we get there. And put the radiator back in and just finish under the engine bay. So that's the plan. Let's just crack on with it and get it done.
Other than forgetting the intake manifold gasket, things are going well. As is always the way, once I'd figured out how everything interacts from disassembly, reassembly becomes a breeze. With the biggest issue being me having to remind myself to stop after every bolt and confirm what is there to do next. Which I think is a super important trait to develop when working on cars, patience. I'm sure we've all been there and all went through it when you first started out, especially when you're young. You rush through things to get it done. You'll just quickly wire this up only for it to spark. You'll just quickly bolt this up only for it to rub. You'll just quickly give it a clean only for it to be smudged. All of which leads to you having to come back later and do the job again. I swear the amount of times I've revisited my own work only to sit back and be like, what the actual was I thinking? But that's not to say I've learned. Regardless between how well laid out the wiring and plumbing is and how kindly this Pajero Sport has been treating me, this project is finally picking up pace.
Oh no! Oh no! God, what a blunder! Jeez, man. Oh. Crisis averted. That was so dumb, man. That was so dumb.
Snapping bolts thanks to having the impact on too high of a setting aside, all is well again. With me even discovering that the water pump can be accessed just by removing the air filter housing. And it wasn't before long that we were chucking in the new radiator.
Oh, it is thicker. I see. Oh, I see. Some modification may be required since this is a thicker radiator. All right.
I'm so keen to be done with it, which we nearly are. So we're on the sort of home stretch now. So everything's done up the front here. We've got the radiator back in. The whole reason we did this whole thing, the radiator is back in there. Whilst I was in there doing everything else out, I removed the rocker cover. I probably didn't need to. I thought it was going to be all right, but I am glad that I did, because whilst removing the rocker cover to replace the gasket, because I had a spare, I noticed in the back sort of passenger side quarter of the rocker cover, it was just starting to leak down the back of the motor. So I caught that pretty well. Good timing, to be honest with you. So that's all been sorted. I've replaced a few hoses. I've installed the new water pump, broke the bolt, removed the bolt, installed new bolts. And then I haven't done the thermostat. I need an actual new heater hose. I tried using a heater hose that wasn't molded, but it was just kinking. So I need to find another bit of heater hose that will fit in that spot. I've done oil filter. I've topped up the transmission oil because since we removed the radiator, that had some transmission fluid in it. So I've added another, I think it was another 500 mils just to be safe. I might have to top that up and I'll check that again. We do need to still install our injectors. I haven't heard back on that yet since it is a weekend, so I'm not going to hear anything until a couple of days' time. Now, the next project is brakes. And I've just went around and undone all the nuts, to all the lug nuts, thinking my brakes are going to be pretty close to needing to be replaced because, so I serviced this car and then the next service, I was like, I'm going to get a professional service because I was going away on a big trip. And I was like, I just want someone professional to look over it and do a full service. And they said in there, oh, you've got about 4 mils of brakes. And I was like, okay. Then I had my wheels and I had my tyres replaced, and they said, oh, your brakes are looking pretty low, you're going to have to replace them soon. And I said, oh, okay. I've just looked at the rear pads. There's like 5-6 mil still on them. They're fine. They're so fine. I've got the kit here. I'm halfway through it. I've set the time aside. I'm going to replace them anyway. I don't think the rears really need it. The fronts, on the other hand, I bet they probably do. So we're going to do that. We're going to replace them all, upgrade them, install new brake lines suited for a car that's had a 2-inch lift, and install new brake rotors as well. So we're not just pad slapping, and we're upgrading everything in it. The compound of the pads, the brake rotors themselves, they're all going to be upgraded so they can handle their weight a lot better, along with towing and stuff like that as well. So let's jack it up and see about replacing the brakes. Oh, she's heavy. There's still heaps of meat on those. Hey. Oh. The discs don't even look that bad too. I've got a lug here that's quite clearly stretched. So here's the problem, other than me leaking brake fluid everywhere. This stud has been stretched. I don't know how much it's going to come up, like how easy you can tell, but like it's substantial, it's noticeable. I picked it up straight away. It looked odd. Given that this is used to go off-road, and henceforth there is significant load on the wheels and weird angles, and on top of that it tows, so there's additional forces on the studs. I don't think it's worth keeping. I definitely think we should replace it. The drama is this shroud doesn't appear to be able to be removed whilst the hub is in place. I can probably push the stud out, but I'm not going to be able to push it back in. Like a new one back in. I gotta have a think. I gotta have a think what we're doing. This car is going to drive nothing short of incredible when we are finished with it. And it's not because of what we've done under the bonnet. It's not the radiator, it's not the cleaning of the intake, it's not the new water pump, not the new thermostat, it's not going to be the new brakes or the hub that we're reinstalling. No, it's going to be because we're getting new injectors. Turns out that the injectors I had in here not only had a weird spray pattern, but also were producing, or perhaps letting out 80% the amount of fuel that they were meant to be doing. I think it is absolutely incredible that we're going to service a car and unlock 20% thereabouts more power. 20%. We're going to get, no wonder it feels underpowered. It's injectors aren't injectoring. It's got to feel otherworldly. Now back on towards the hub. I have done a bit of searching around, and through a great amount of effort, I've removed our hub here with the stretched stud on it. Now I was looking around and I was trying to find studs for these just to replace them. Ideally you'd replace all of them at the same time. For the price of one of these hubs compared to the price of stubs, it seems like no brainer, especially when these often come in pairs. It's like $100 and something and you get the pair of the two hubs which come pre-fit with the wheel bearings that are on them. So I mean look, it's a faff to get out because they're very much snug inside their little home. Like, for the price of replacing them, I think it's worth it. I think, look, they've worked well enough for now. They've got a stretch bolt on them. We might, look, we're here, we might as well. Might as well. Seems to be logical. I don't intend on doing anything else to the brakes anytime soon. So we'll get a new one of these. So that really means that I can't do much of anything else. I could probably start on the rear, but we've got the front jacked up now. I've taken one of the hubs off, so I can't really put it down on the tyres, and I've got no spare jack stands. So what we're going to do is we're just going to wait. We've got injectors to wait on. We've got the the hubs to wait on. We're just going to hang out and hopefully get some more bits as time goes on. I won't lie, this project has taken way longer than it should have, but it's good. It's going to feel completely different. A completely different car, a completely different machine. It's going to be fantastic. I cannot wait. What's weird is that of all the cars I've owned, I have no attachment to this one. Like, yeah, weird, man.